Well, good morning, good evening, good night. It's Ryan here at 780 Speed and Custom. Quick update video. I pulled the drivetrain back out of the Biscayne. I pulled the back brakes apart. Everything looks good there, so I'm not going to bother replacing those for now. Got all the measurements I needed, everything under the hood. So basically, next step, I need to rebuild the transmission and everything can go right back in. But I'm not working on that today. Today I'm going to head over to the other shop. I've got the 40 on the hoist and I need to figure out what's going on with the differential. I can't keep bearings in it, so I'm thinking either got a bent axle or bent axle housing. I'm hoping it's probably just an axle because that's a lot cheaper than an axle housing. So yeah, I'll look into that. Plus, I'm going to rip the wiring out of it. I've got a Holley Terminator X that's going to go in the truck this year, so start tearing out the old harness. It's actually going to go up end up in the Biscayne, and yeah, just some other wiring issues and a few little things. I've got to fix the methanol. I've got a new solenoid and flow valve, so get that stuff swapped out and yeah, go from there. All right, so I'm over here at the other shop. Got the 40 up on the hoist. First thing I'm going to do is drain the oil out of the diff. I'll take the tires off, take the rotors off, pull the axles out, and then I can take the third member out. Once I've got that all apart, I want to take some measurements off everything. I might run it over to where I work and put them in the lathe and see, just spin it in the lathe with a dial indicator on it and see if I can see any, if anything's bent or what's going on here exactly, because I just can't keep bearings in the thing. Like, I'll put a new set of bearings in the axle and literally within 10 kilometers I can start to hear that bearing start to fail already. So obviously something severely damaged in there, not straight. Something's going on. So got to figure that out. That's priority number one, especially with the way parts are these days. I don't want to have to order an axle and find out it's 12 months away. You know, not gonna be good. So I'll get after it. That side still feels good. Lines look good. Well, that makes me feel good. The other side was the real issue though, so I'll have a look at that side and see what happens. See what it looks like anyway. Yeah, so this one's bad. I just feel a little bit of grinding in there. So this is the axle I'm suspecting. That either this flange is not straight, true to the axle, or this axle is bent just slightly. Well, I just took a break, came home for lunch, and brought the axle with me. This is what they call a small bearing Ford, 28 spline. So it is a 9-inch, but it's the weakest of the 9 inches. Just having a look online, these are actually only a couple $100 to get, so that's really not that bad. So hopefully that is the only issue, that this maybe is bent, but I'll take some quick measurements here and we'll go from there. So I don't think I need to take this to the lathe at all. I don't know if you're able to see that on camera or not, but just rolling it on my toolbox, you can clearly see that's bent. So I've got to get a new axle for the driver's side. I'm going to check the passenger side as well, but yeah, that's my problem. So that confirms kind of what I thought beforehand, that had a bent axle. So it's kind of what I was hoping for. It's really best case scenario, because the new axle is pretty cheap, so I'll just get one of those coming. Next thing I want to work on today is ripping the ECU and harness out of this so I can put the Terminator in. And ECU and harness that's in the truck is actually what I'm going to put in the Biscayne to run that engine. So it's going to work all the way around. But yeah, get ripping and tearing on the harness and hopefully get that out of here today. Alright, well, fast forward a few hours and I've got most of the harness undone. It's a couple more wires left inside the cab. Everything's hanging out loosely here. I had to undo all my loom and electrical tape, and everything else is holding everything together. But biggest issue now is they got 3 wires that run up to the front for the cam position sensor. Well, I can barely even get my hand in here, let alone get to the sensor, which is behind all of that. So, I don't know, it's a battle, but I'll get it. Well, that was a solid shift on the truck, but figured out the diff issue. I've got my ECU and engine harness out, so now that's ready to go into the Biscayne. And I can start getting the Terminator ready to go into this, figure out where I'm going to mount the ECU for that, and yeah, go from there. But I've had enough for today. I'm going to head home. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to stick around. It's Ryan, 780 Speed Custom.